Ballots were cast in occupied parts of Ukraine on Saturday, a day after Russia launched referendums aimed at annexing 4 occupied regions of the country. The move drew condemnation from Kyiv and Western nations who dismissed the votes as a sham and pledged not to recognize their results. Ukrainian officials said people were banned from leaving some occupied areas until the 4-day vote was over, adding that armed groups were going into homes and employees were threatened with the sack if they did not participate. Reuters could not immediately verify reports of coercion. In Kyiv on Saturday, internally displaced people from Mariupol like Ole Sukov protested the vote.
Сегодня референдум проходит в Мариуполе.
Today a referendum is taking place in Mariupol. I'm strongly against it. How am I, a native Mariupol resident, able to say no in this ballot? I've no such right.
Сказать свое нет в этом бюллетене.
I consider myself a Mariupol resident, and I want Mariupol to be Ukraine.
Я хочу, чтобы Мариуполь был Украиной.
But back in his hometown, some, like Alexei, are grateful for the vote, telling Reuters, "We are only hoping for the best." The votes on becoming part of Russia were hastily organized after Ukraine recaptured large swaths of the northeast in a counteroffensive earlier this month. In his nightly address on Friday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the referendums.
Абсолютно справедливо світ відреагує і на псевдореферендуми.
The world will react absolutely appropriately to the pseudo-referendums. They will be unequivocally condemned and to the criminal mobilization which the occupiers are now trying to conduct in Crimea and other parts of Ukraine, which they are temporarily in control of. These are not just crimes against international law and Ukrainian law, these are crimes against specific people, against a nation.
By incorporating the 4 areas, Moscow could portray attacks to retake them as an attack on Russia itself, and potentially use that to justify even a nuclear response, a terrifying prospect in a war that has already killed tens of thousands of people, uprooted millions, and pummeled the global economy. Polling stations were also set up in Moscow for residents of those regions now living in Russia. Flag-waving government supporters attended rallies in Moscow and St. Petersburg in favor of the referendums and the war effort. Ukraine, Western leaders, and the United Nations have slammed the votes as an illegitimate precursor to illegal annexation. There are no independent observers, and much of the pre-war population has fled. Moscow says the referendums offer an opportunity for people in the region to express their view. Russian President Vladimir Putin maintains Russia's actions in Ukraine are aimed at carrying out a special military operation to demilitarize the country, rid it of dangerous nationalists, and defend Russia from Transatlantic Alliance, NATO.